Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. So today's video is purely aimed at the older Suzuki Swift owners. I just purchased a 2007 Suzuki Swift around 3 days ago now. Everything's really good with the car, I'm very happy with how it drives, etc. But it is lacking a lot of service history when I flick through all of the paperwork. So what I'm going to do today is reveal with you guys which components I bought for the Suzuki Swift. So I hope you find today's video useful, follow along and let me know in the comments if this video has helped you do your Suzuki Swift yourself. Let's crack on. Right, so the first component that I'm going to fit out of the kit is the air filter. Now that is because it sits literally in this plastic box on top of the engine, so it's so easy to get to. Now just looking at it, because I've never done this before, there is one bolt literally just down here, as you can see, and then just in front of it, if you come round, there is another one just here. Now if you undo those two bolts and then undo these two silver clips, literally just push those off to the side, this box will come away. You probably can pull the filter out now, but I am going to undo those two other bolts because I want the whole box removed from the engine so I can give the inside a good clean out in case there's any leaves or any other dirt or debris or whatever. So let's do that first and then we'll move on to the next thing. Next, grab yourself a 10mm spanner and then begin to undo that bolt at the back. Then grab yourself a 10mm ratchet. Take off the other bolt. See that I've got to the air filter itself, which is just here, and you literally just pull this will come out. So the condition's not actually that bad, to be honest. It was a bit of a pain, it was just getting caught on that bottom corner there, the clip goes underneath. So what I'm going to do now is, if you move around to the right here, and see this little plastic clip, I need to unclip this. And then there's another bolt, as you can see, just down the bottom there. Undo that, and then come over this side and undo this as well. And this whole entire air box should be able to get removed from the car, which then gives me access to this area, which moves me on to the next job, which is the spark plugs. Now just use a pair of pliers just to undo that plastic clip. And now you can see that I'm using the 10mm on a ratchet just to undo that bolt that's holding that bracket on. And now finally you can see the whole entire airbox is completely loose and you can pull it away from the car. Now you can see I'm fully cleaning the airbox with some engine degreaser. Next job is going to be the spark plugs. Now they sit just under this cover, which is held on by these 4 bolts. So what you need to do is grab yourself a 8mm socket and just remove those 4 bolts, then this cover should just come off and then you should see the spark plugs. So let's do that next. Now the cover's removed, you can see the spark plugs will sit underneath these HT leads. So I'm going to start with this one first, replace each one and make my way down. You're going to need a 10mm to remove these two, and then this whole thing will pull out. Just be careful with the electrics as well, so you may need to unplug this just so you don't have any risk of damaging any of the wires. But yeah, again, just make your way across, change this one, and then the same with those, undo those and put them all back in. Let's get to the first one. I'm going to pull this out literally just by hand, like so. Okay, just leave this out of the way somewhere. Okay, yeah, just down here. And then if you look down the hole, let's see if I can get my camera to focus. not really, but you can just about make out that's the top of the spark plug, which then leaves me to the next bit. You're going to need a spark plug socket, so make sure you've got that to hand. I'm just going to go and grab mine in a minute and see if I've got the right one. It should be one of these two, because I change spark plugs quite often on other stuff. I've just done a recent spark plug change on my Mazda RX-7 FD, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be the deep socket 10mm version, which is from the Draper kit, as you can see there. The best way to test this, either in the car straight away, or just quickly grab one of the spark plugs out of the box and just see if that fits over the top. It's a bit awkward doing this one-handed, but yeah, you can see that fits over the nut there at the bottom. The first thing we need to do is go back to the car. We will put this onto an extension and then literally get this one out, and then we're going to replace this old one with one of the new ones. To get this spark plug from all the way down the bottom, you're probably thinking, how on earth are you going to get your hands down there to get this out? There is certain pliers you can buy to get these out miles easier, but I haven't actually got any in my unit today. What I do is I just put some blue tack down the bottom of the socket. I don't know if you can see that. Don't push too hard on the spark plug, you don't need to, and just give it a gentle twist, and then it grips enough just to pull this out. That's the first spark plug out. To be honest, it's not actually that bad. I don't think these are that old, but again, there's no proof in the paperwork to say when this was done, so I'm just going to change it anyway. Let's get the new one in and then make our way across the rest. Now, when you go and try and remove the spark plug yourself, you may find that the previous owner may have put these in extremely tight, so just be careful when you try and loosen them off. And also, when you put the new ones in, don't over tighten the spark plugs, you don't need to. I normally just do a quarter turn and then just give it another little nip, as you will see in a second in the video. You can see, every time I take a spark plug out, the condition of it's not actually that bad. I've definitely seen a lot worse in my time. Let's begin to start putting the new ones in. And again, don't over tighten the spark plugs when you put them in. Down by the end coil, there's another electrical wire that needs unplugging. I can see there, I've just unplugged it. Just keep that out of the way. Once you've undone the coil down the end, you should be able to remove the whole coil and the HT lead as one whole unit. So another old spark plug removed, and then we get another new one out, and that should be the last one here. Once you've fitted all 4 spark plugs, it's just a case of reversing the process. When you pop the HT leads back in, like I'm doing there, make sure that they click into place on top of the spark plug. Pop the 2 10mm bolts back in the coil, and then don't forget to re-plug in that electrical wire there. And that's it pretty much. Just pop the black cover back on with the 4 bolts. Now you can unpack the brand new air filter to be installed. Just make sure the air filter sits inside of the air box correctly, and then you can pop it all back together. And that's it pretty much. Just reverse the process again, so just use all the 10mm bolts, fix it all back together, and then that is it. So there you have it, that's the air filter changed and all 4 spark plugs changed. So it's not that bad of a job to do. Like I say, just take your time, make sure you don't break any wires or anything like that. Please disconnect the battery if you don't feel safe mucking around with electrics, etc. Just literally disconnect that with a 10mm spanner and just make that job a little bit more safer if you prefer. So next we're going to move on to the cabin filter, which I'm going to show you where that is located now. From what I've seen online, I believe the cabin filter is located in the passenger side, undo the glove box, and then you need to apparently pull the sides because they're clipped in. I don't know if I can do this one-handed. Let's give it a go quick. Oh, there you go, so there's one. Ah, there you go, so the whole thing's just come off, as you can see. And then apparently there's a black case. Yes, here. I think you just simply unclip this. Yeah, there you go. So there's the clip on the side. Just get up a bit more close. So just pull that towards you, and the same the other side. Just switch hands. There we go. 2 clips, pull that off, and there is the cabin filter. Now I'll be interested to see the condition of this, because this always amazes me with cabin filters. Not a lot of people know about these, and they just sit in there since probably when the car is new. So let's have a look. They'll be absolutely filthy if it is. No, this has been changed before. So this is actually quite a good condition cabin filter, surprisingly. But yeah, some of the ones I've changed in the past, I think one of the worst ones I've seen was the change I did on my Celica a while back. I think I did a video on it. That was absolutely hanging. So let's go and get the new cabin filter out of the box, and you just simply push it back in, put this back on, and then clip the glove box back into place, and that is literally it, guys.
Do you remember when we couldn't get enough of it all? We kept it going for so long, so long. I don't know where I would be if we let it go. Cause every time we try to break it down and build again, yeah, every time we try to make up for something lost, you know.
Right, okay, so the next 2 jobs I've got left to do is changing the windscreen wipers and doing the oil change. Now normally I do the oil change at the start of the video because I would have driven here, the car would have been warm, and I would have drained the oil, etc., which is part of the process, which I will explain when I do the oil change. However, the oil that I ordered did not turn up yesterday, and all I've got to hand right now is my oil filter. So I can't put the filter on unless I've got the oil, there's no point, and I've got no wiper blades to fit. So I'm going to have to skip into next weekend in a second to do that job. But before I do that, I'm going to start the car up with the new spark plugs in and make sure everything's running okay. I suggest you guys do the same. Once you've changed the spark plugs, just turn the car over, make sure it's not hunting or doing anything strange. And then I'm going to have to skip into next weekend to do the oil change to carry this video on. Let's go.
So it's all good news, there is no issues with the engine running, and I did actually take the car for a test run just after this quick shot of the car running. No issues, it all runs very smooth. Now before I move on to the other 2 things that I was saying, there is actually one more thing I want to show you guys first.
You can see that this headlight looks brand spanking new now. However, a minute ago you would notice in my video, it didn't look like that, it looked like this. See how minging that is? Just trying to get the right angle. But you can see that it's gone really dull and hazy and horrible. So I'll show you my little trick that I do to get this up brand spanking new like the other one. So I've got this stuff here which you can pick up on eBay. Heavy cut compound. You can use this yourself with a cloth, but I'm lucky enough to have a Rupes Mark III EA polisher. So this pad's not the best condition, it needs throwing out, but it's enough to do the headlights. That's why I keep this one for doing headlights only. You just put 4 blobs of that heavy cut compound on the pad, and then you start working your way on the headlight.
Oh yeah!
Now I absolutely love this machine. I think it just works wonders when you do little jobs like this. I've actually done many other people's headlights just to help them get their headlights back to looking brand new. I just find it really satisfying, and I never seem to get bored of doing little jobs like this. You can already see the improvement, and that's just all under 5 minutes. And now I'm just using a really good cloth just to buff that headlight up. You can see it looks brand new again.
There you have it, 2 brand new looking headlights, done for pretty much next to nothing. The only thing now I would put on them is some of this Headlight Restore sealant, just to help prevent that from doing that again, but you can't really help it. It will probably do it again, but just keep on top of it and they keep looking as new as that. So yeah, let's move on to the oil change now and the wiper blades. So the last thing we've got to do is the oil change, and you're probably wondering why the hell I'm wrapped up like I am. And that's because the temperature today is currently, 2 seconds, it's currently 5 degrees, as you can see there in the middle. Yeah, it's definitely not going to be a fun task today, but I think it's not too bad, like as in regards to get to where the oil filter is and stuff. So anyway, let's crack on with getting this last job done.
For those people that don't know, this is where you jack the car up from these points just here.
So I've just looked underneath of the car to find where the oil sump plug and the oil filter locations are. They're both in a really good, easy spot to get to, which is nice on cold days like this. So I'm going to flip the camera around now and show you exactly where each of these 2 things are to do. Okay, so I've got a right-hand drive model Suzuki Swift. So if you come down to the driver's side underneath of the car, just grab my torch. Okay, so you've got the driver's side wheel, literally come directly towards where the number plate would be. And you'll see you've got this sump tank just here. If you go towards the back of the car slightly, you will see you've got the oil drain plug just here. And then if you come back towards where the number plate would be, you can see in a very easy spot for once the oil filter location. So what I'm going to do next is take off that sump bolt and drain the oil into a pan on the floor just here. And then we're going to put the new oil filter on, put the sump plug back in, and then we can off the engine and start refilling the oil. So grab yourself a 22mm socket or a 22mm spanner for the sump plug. Then grab yourself your oil drain pan or something you're going to drain the oil into. And then one thing I forgot to mention is take the oil cap off from the top of the engine first, so it lets all the air push all of the oil completely out of the sump. So do that now quick. Just here, unscrew this, and we're just going to pop that somewhere safe out of the way. Now we can begin to start undoing that sump plug finally.
Whilst the engine oil is draining out, just grab the sump plug and give it a good clean up. Then you want to remove this copper washer and replace it with a brand new one. Like so. Now just keep that on the side for now. Now you can remove the oil filter.
Right, so now you've got the sump plug out and the oil filter off the car as well. What you can do now is put the sump plug back in with the new copper washer, which we were talking about a minute ago. Then you can unpackage the new oil filter. So part code P3276 is my one. And what you're going to do is just dip your finger in the old or the new oil, put a bit of oil around this new fresh rubber seal. That just stops the oil filter binding when you tighten the oil filter back up. Tighten this up as much as you can by hand first, then get your oil filter tool, put it on there, nip it up till it goes tight, and then probably do like another half or full turn. That should be more than enough on the tension. You don't need to over tighten these either. So let's get back into the car and start assembling it all back together. And there you have it. So we're at the point now where we've got the new oil filter fitted and the sump pump back in. So we're going to move to the top of the engine now and start putting in the oil from the top. So next, grab yourself a funnel. I'm going to put that into the top of the engine, and then we can start pouring in the oil. So this is the oil I've got, the 5W30 Mannol Oil. So we'll pop that in now. So now I've dropped the car back down so it's level. What we're going to do is just quickly check this oil level. So you can see it's pretty much halfway on the dipstick there, so I can put some more oil in. Once you've done that, you can start the car up. When it cools back down, just check it again. If it needs any more oil, again, just top it back up. So now we can start the car up, but before we do it, turn the ignition on. And what you want to do is just give it a few seconds, start the car up, and hopefully the oil light goes off. If it doesn't, it means you've got an oil pressure problem somewhere. But fingers crossed we don't have that issue. So there you go, you can see it go off. So did you see it flash once? It's just basically doing a little check, and then it's realised the oil pressure's fine. So just let this run up to temperature, and then let it cool back down, check the oil on the dipstick again, and then if it's a little bit low, just top it back up with a bit more oil until you've got it to the full mark. So that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope I've managed to help some of you out get these items fitted to your Suzuki Swift. If I have, let me know in the comments below. I really appreciate the feedback that some people give. It just lets me know that these videos are actually working. I do have a lot more videos yet to come. I've got a couple more to do on the Suzuki. I've got more coming up with the RX-7. I've got some coming up with the Indian Scout Bobber. I'm going to start having some more car events come up. So there's plenty more to come. So if you haven't hit that subscribe button, please consider subscribing. Until then, I'll catch you guys all in the next one.